Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third webinar of the Agile Project Management in Technical Writing series that is delivered to you by joint efforts of SOAP Technical Communication and 3DA Poland. My name is Gosia Radymiak. I'm the head of SOAP Technical Communication, and today with me is one more time Paweł Kowaluk, Technical Director at 3DA, who will today tell us about how to estimate technical writing projects for a client. Before we begin, I have three technical items to share with you. First of all, everybody is muted during this webinar. However, you can ask questions and add comments in the live chat on YouTube. Secondly, the webinar is being recorded, so you'll be able to share it with somebody. On YouTube, it will be also posted on SOAP channels. And last but not least, I'd like to invite you to next Thursday, 5 p.m. for the last webinar in this series. Hope to see you there. That's everything on my side. Paweł, hello.
Hello, Gosia. Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to be bringing yet another webinar along with SOAP. And this time I want to talk about how we estimate some of the projects for our clients, and I hope you will find it useful, even if you are not in a technical writing services company, because your client is also your internal client. You could be in different situations within the company where somebody is requesting some kind of a document, some kind of a documentation thing. For us, it's usually an external company. It's a company that somehow we hunted or they hunted us, and they have a project for us to do. They usually come with an assumption. They say, I need a 60-page instructions manual for this or that, right? So then and they ask you how much it's going to cost or how long it's going to take to create, right? Or whether you can do it, so you think 60 pages is 1 day per page. Well, actually, that's not a very good way to approach the subject, because one page does not equal another page. If it's a lot of text, it may take more time to write than if it's a lot of illustrations. But on the other hand, the illustrations may take longer to develop if it's you that's doing the illustrating. And also, are you starting from an existing guide or not? What are the conditions? So when somebody says they need a 60-page instructions manual, maybe they don't actually need a 60-page instructions manual. They want a 60-page instructions manual, or they think they need a 60-page instructions manual. Here at 3DI, we go back to the drawing board, and we always follow the 5-step process. And even as we're estimating, we need to go at least through the first step, maybe the first 2, maybe the first 3, before we tell them how much it's going to take. And the first step is going to tell us, the first step and the first and second are probably going to tell us how long the project is going to take or how much it's going to cost. So yeah, the 5 stages are analyze, design, prototype, implement, and then handover. And they flow naturally from any sort of project. Even if it's an agile project, usually you have to go through all of these steps, but there'll be different sets of iterations. Simply, so analyze is the initial thinking without suggesting any solutions. It's just figuring out what's going on, what the requirements are. Design is figuring out the solutions. Prototyping is showing the solution that you came up with to your client, iterating and then agreeing whether this is the thing that you want to do. Implementation is the actual work, and this can be the most work-intensive part of the project, but it doesn't have to be. The analysis could take longer than the actual doing. And then there's the handover, which is the final stage where the client's happy, they get the manual that they wanted. Let me elaborate just a little bit more about each of these stages. So in the analysis phase, you have to start with the question, what are we doing? And this is going to be to do with a lot of whys and like, are you sure? And what are we doing is going to depend on what the client wants or things they need, but also on what who the audience are, right? Who are we doing this for, and what is going to be most useful for them? So somebody came to us saying they need a 60-page instructions manual, because they've always delivered instructions manuals, and they feel that this one is going to be about 60 pages. But we should ask their users whether they are finding those manuals useful, those books, because maybe we're not looking at a book, maybe we need an online help or an app. Think about a technician who's installing something in the field, and in some cases it makes sense for them to print out a book or put it in a binder and carry the binder with them and go somewhere and open the binder and follow the instructions in the book. But a lot of the times nowadays, it's easier for them to just carry a tablet or a mobile phone. And if they could have the online help on the tablet or have an app which has all the instructions in there, that would also be useful. Think of because putting something online, it makes it available on mobile devices usually, right? So that's fine. But think of places that don't have the internet, like they just built a row of new houses and somebody's going to be installing alarm devices in them. It would be useful for them to have an app which, before they go, they download all the instructions, and when they are on site, those instructions are available offline, so they can flip through them as they are installing the alarm systems. And then when they go back home, there's Wi-Fi available, the instructions update if there's been any changes. So yeah, you do all this kind of thinking about what we're doing. Then, once you kind of know what you want to do, you need to think about what means you're going to need and who's going to be involved in doing that. This is your analysis bleeding into design, right? So you're going to start designing the solution. But in some cases, the analysis and a bit of design is going to be your costing phase. This is going to tell you, we're going to need this kind of system. For example, we're going to need a data system with a CMS and style sheets developed, and it's going to cost $1 million. Or it can be, we need Flare or RoboHelp, and we need a web server to publish the site onto, and we need some CSS development. So then it tells you who needs to be involved. Is there just writers, or are there technicians, project manager, account manager to work with the customer? Is there going to be a number of other roles, translators, programmers, website developers, UX designers? Those could be different people, different roles involved. And that also gives you an idea of the cost, because each role you're going to charge their time differently. And then you start designing the solution, and part of the design is the technical means you're going to use and the people who are going to be involved, but also there's the detail of the content that you're creating. So you got to think of what's the individual piece of content going to look like, a single topic or a single screen or something. How much writing goes into that? What types of topics do you have? You could be following a standard like data or information mapping, but you could be developing something that is custom made for this particular client or customer, right? So it's going to be, could be that you need a task description, you need a concept overview, you need a chapter heading, kind of narrative text, you need a marketing topic, and you need a tutorial topic. This could be 5 or 6 topic types that you need, which are kind of non-standard, but that's what you need. So you're going to have to design templates for them so that your writers can follow the same style. And then what's the style guide you're using? In your analysis, you should be able to figure that out, whether there's a standard style guide that you already have, or whether you need something new developed for this particular project. Your design and your design is going to be the TOC or TOCs, so to speak, metaphorically, the list of topics, the list of subject matter that you're writing about. So it's going to go detail. And then you start building the prototype. The prototype of an online help, for example, could be just a few topics, just a few topics to show them what the online help is going to look like on screen and what the topics are going to be written like. So if you have some procedures and then also some tutorials, show them the difference between these two, show them one procedural topic and one tutorial topic. And when I say tutorial, this could be different things. But for example, it could be how to set up your computer when you're starting work. So it's going to tell you how to set your date and time and your data connection and install your app number 1, app number 2, app number 3. This would be a high-level tutorial that doesn't go into details of procedures. Or a tutorial could tell you how to operate a certain aspect of an application. For example, if it's a project management application that you are writing about, the tutorial could tell you how you add tasks and remove tasks and edit those tasks and assign those tasks. This could be the whole task area tutorial. So yeah, so give your client, give your customer a prototype of that topic. And they're gonna come back to you, give you feedback on, they don't like the look and feel of it, or they don't like the way the information is presented. You gather all that feedback and you improve on the prototype and you iterate with the prototype, give them something better until they are satisfied. Make sure you have all the requirements before you start working on the project, right? Because because you might have a very different understanding of what they need, and then they may think they need something else, and then they'll have last minute requests for you as you're implementing or as you're handing over. They'll have last minute requests which will completely bury your entire budget for this project. Yeah, so the first 3 stages, analyze, design, and prototype, are going to be crucial to you before you start the implementation. When you start the implementation, it's people actually working on the project. It's going to be your technical writers writing the content. It's going to be your graphics designers implementing the look and feel and drawing the images, drawing the graphics, taking the photos of the equipment, whatever you're writing about. Right? It's going to be your programmers writing the code for the app, testing and iterating the app. So that's on a huge project, this could be the longest period of time, and this could be taken in iteration. If you're interested in that, we've done a webinar on Scrum technical writing projects. You might want to check them out on the SOAP YouTube channel. But anyway, your implementation, if it is to go smoothly, you need to be sure that you've nailed that analysis, design, and prototype, because this is where you're putting all the work in, and a lot of it cannot be undone. And then you go back to your client and you hand over the thing. So it could be just that you're giving them the 60-page book that they wanted. It's a PDF. Here you go. Here's your PDF. With the PDF, you could be handing over the source. It's a Word document, or it's a data document, or it's an XML document. The handover could be publishing the website and giving them the keys, the admin account to manage the website, and all the source content. The handover could also be training on how to maintain this moving forward, right? The handover could be, you're going to keep maintaining this, but you're handing over a ticketing system which they can log into, and they can log issues or log improvement ideas for the future, right? Because from now on, you're maintaining this documentation to them. So you give them the document, and you give them the means to follow up and make sure the support is successful. So handover means different things. And then the documents may need to be translated. And it's not just an afterthought. I'm separating this out because it's a separate project, and for 3DI, this also has to go through the 5 stages. So it's a whole big project. You have to estimate this separately. Right, but back to estimating, right? So we have our design of all the topics that we need, all the content, and how we're going to do it, um, and we know what what are the priorities. So some of the topics we may end up not writing, right? So we estimate how much of that is optional topics, or we estimate what we don't need from what the customer thought was initially in scope. And then we think 1 day per topic, but what kind of topic? It's good to have a costs uh, estimation system for topics, which would take into account the complexity, and um, give you a quick way of kind of figuring out if it's 60 topics and 30 of them are quite complex, and then there are 10 or 30 of them are usually average, and then there are going to be 5 that are very complex, and some which are very simple. Then then your estimating system should give you a way of doing that. We do have a estimating system which we use later on in the project for each iteration for estimating tasks. So this is not the initial costing for the client. This is our costing of what we can do in the next iteration. And it follows the shared size model that is often found in Scrum. So uh, you would estimate the smallest task to be, for example, a half hour. This is what we do. And then the bigger they are, the more time they take, the more complex they are, the more time they're going to take. And we use this system in our Scrum, in our planning meetings. Basically, we look at a task, and everybody's got to say and how complex they think it's going to be. Um, so and this is based on their experiences with writing content. So some people are going to be better suited for estimating a particular task, others not. But usually there's going to be consensus in the group, and you will be able to tell that everybody's saying it's an M or an Excel task, and there's just one outlier who says it's very big, or one outlier who says it's very small. It's good to then maybe ask the question why they think so, because they may have a clue which you don't have. They may say, oh, I've done this type of task before and it's been a lot of work. Or they could say, oh, we have basically everything we need for this. So you guys, you're wrong saying it's a large task. It's a very small task. Um, but again, it's not really suitable for estimating the project. This is going to be within the project. Before you start the project, this is the kind of estimating you will do. You'll say that you're gonna need so much time for analysis and design, and then you will have to be iterating on the prototype for 3 days, and then you're gonna need 2 days to set up your project, 10 days to do the writing, do some testing, uh, implement some fixes. There's gonna be reviews within that writing. So you're gonna have a model which tells you what percentage of the time you spend writing is spent testing, and is spent doing reviews with your SMEs, and asking questions and getting answers, etc. And then also remember to plan time for handover, because that's not just it's not just handing stuff over. It could be a complex process where you deliver training, but even if it's just you sending them a PDF, they could come back to you saying, oh, I cannot download this PDF or something. There's always going to be something. So plan ahead, make sure you cover the slack. So the topic of estimating is quite broad, and it's hard to cover in any amount of time. Seriously, it's discussions that are ongoing in any organization, and they should be. You should always try to refine your estimating process. Never think it's done. Never think this is the way we're always gonna do it. But yeah, but I hope this gives you at least some idea of how we do it at 3DI, and maybe you will find it useful and make it work for you. So yeah, that's all I have prepared for today. We do have a lot of time for some questions, though. Gosia, are there any questions?
Paweł, there are no questions on YouTube. So I think everything was clear enough, and nobody really needs to ask any questions.
Yeah, I hope that's what it means. But anyway, if you guys have questions, you can ask them in the comments on YouTube or.
Oh, one question was just added. Are there any tools, apps where estimations can be created, edited, and so on? Can you recommend something?
So we haven't been using anything off the shelf. We use Excel, and you can set up your formulas for Excel according to your estimating and costing model. That would be my answer. If anyone knows any good tools, why don't you put it in the comments on YouTube or let us know, because that would be fun and useful to explore.
Okay. Okay, so it seems that these are all questions that we had. Thank you, Paweł, a lot. Everyone, thank you for joining. If you're willing to learn more about 3DI or SOAP, follow the links in the descriptions, and hope to see you next week. We're going to talk about how to deal with multiple technical writing projects in one Scrum team. Talk to you in a week. Bye-bye.